What would you do if it was 3 a.m. and you heard a loud crash, like the sound of your window breaking, only to realize that somebody was breaking into your home? What would you do in those seconds? Would you have everything that you needed to protect yourself and your family? Would you panic? Have you ever thought about what you would do in that time and in those moments? And it's easy for us to not think about it, especially if it's not something that has happened to us. And it's easy for us not to think about it if nobody even tells us to think about it. But today, I thought about it. Not because someone broke into my house, but because I went to a concealed to carry class, permit class. And they were giving us that kind of scenario. The guy was talking about, if you were in that instance, what would you do in terms of if you had a gun? And how you would react with the gun. And it was a very interesting class because it taught us gun safety. It taught us about revolvers, Glocks, ammunition, fundamentals, how to aim, how to hold the gun. And it even taught us about some legal aspects and just how to even be vigilant of even your own surroundings, and down to the point of knowing how far your bullet can go and beyond the target. It taught a lot, and it opened my eyes a lot in terms of how necessary it is to have this type of knowledge when it comes to firearms. And when I was sitting in the class, I was attempting to take notes, but I really wanted to listen to, so I know I did capture some of the PowerPoints, but there's so much that I didn't know that I needed to know. All the way down to even like regulations. Well, as we know, there's many regulations, but even so much to say that even if you had a concealed weapon, a concealed gun, that you still can't take it on certain properties, like federal properties. Like it still can't even go. Like there's some towns in where I live where it's just, you cannot have a concealed gun at all. They were talking about if you were in a situation where someone broke into your house and you shot them, and if they didn't die, they have a potential to sue you. And if you did kill them, then their family might sue you, and to have even protection in place for that type of thing to happen. This is kind of world we live in, y'all, where the unexpected can happen and it can change the trajectory of your life forever. That's crazy. So when I was in the class, I was thinking about how much I needed to know this information, not just for me, but for my daughters. And not even just for my daughters, but my community. We need to know this as a Black community. Because where we get a lot of our knowledge, a majority of us get our knowledge either from the streets or don't have the knowledge at all. Like for myself, I don't have gun knowledge. I wasn't taught anything about gun knowledge other than they're bad and stay away and you don't want those in your house. But then I'm thinking, but why not? The way the world is going, it's better to have the knowledge and the understanding of how to use them and how to protect yourself with them and from them than to be totally ignorant of it. And that's what I learned today. I was like, I'm not going to be fearful to have it in my house, scared, afraid that my children will get it and end up hurting somebody or themselves. But it's better for me to have it and give them the knowledge on what to do and how important it is to know, for them to know the safety aspects of firearms. It's better for them to know, because there's a lot of people who outside of the Black community, they're raised like this. They're taught this at a very early age. They've been to classes on weapons and how to use them and all of this. Whereas there are things in my community as a Black woman that is just not taught. It's total ignorance. And what we see is on TV on how to use guns, pointing this way and shit. Like, that is not how you shoot a gun. And I don't know if they put that into our minds on purpose so that we just don't know how to use a motherfucking weapon, but that is not how you do it. But it just opened my eyes. And then so we had the class, it was like a 4-hour class, and then we were able to shoot the gun. So we were able to go to the actual range part and shoot at the target. And that was really my first time holding like a handgun. Because when I was in basic training, we didn't have a handgun. We had an M16. But this was my first time actually holding a handgun and shooting it. And really witnessing the power that I had in my hands. Really understanding the power that a gun has. Like, this thing that was in my hand, I can take somebody's whole life with one shot. And when I started to think about that and how important it was for me to understand this information and get the knowledge and the wisdom of how to effectively use it responsibly, I started thinking about how all these people that are in this world who have this power in their hands and they don't have the knowledge. There are some people, a lot of people, that are ego driven. And they got these things because they want to either show off, they want to scare somebody. And I've even thinking about times where even like you have road rage and you be like, oh, I just want to get this person, and just pull it out just to scare somebody because you want to show your power. You want to show don't mess with me, don't fuck with me, how dare you, don't disrespect me type deal. There's that mentality. That's why it took me forever to get a gun. I knew I wasn't ready and mature enough for a long time. And I still am not really fully ready. I was like, oh my gosh, like being in that class and learning all that stuff. I was like, there's still so much I have to learn about guns and how to operate them, how to handle them, and how to just load them, shoot them, and have one. Have a lockbox, have the safety in my car, knowing, okay, if I go this place, don't have it, and all of this information. But at this point in time in this world, we got to understand this. I think it's the most important right now. We need this knowledge. Like, people are preparing for something. Within their spirits, they're preparing. So even bullets, like the cost of ammunition is starting to rise because so many people are purchasing it. For me to turn in my application for my concealed to carry license is 2 months out. That's how many people are booked to get their concealed to carry license right now. Okay. It's getting real out here. And not to like put fear, because you should never be fearful. You should always just stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And it's just good to understand it. So when I held that gun and I held all that power in my hands, I felt a little nervous because I was like, wow, I've never experienced that. And just the way it feels inside my soul, and just to think about these things and how people use them carelessly, and how many lives have been taken because of these things, it started to hit me. And I realized how important it is for us to understand safety and not just that, but understand humane aspect of this. Like, this is a serious thing to have. But it opened my eyes in so many ways, and I'm going to keep going back. I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to take my children. I think it's important as a woman. I need to take my daughters so that they can understand this. So I'm going to take them to the range. I was so ready. I got my little, these ain't headphones. These are, they block out the sound to, at the range. So I even got these, and I got my glasses, because, you know, the shells be popping and all that. And make sure you wear, you know, because I heard the shells, they can go inside your clothes and all of that. But I even got the glasses here. Boom. But it was a very interesting and eye-opening experience. And then when you talk about the legal aspects of it, to where the guy came in who was part of the Law Shield, and he was talking about how one of the ladies, I guess she was a real estate agent, and she signed up for it, and she was a member of the Law Shield, and she was a real estate agent, and she came home from like a long week of just kind of being out of town showing houses or something, and she didn't know that her friend had, okay, so she gets out of the shower, she hears somebody in her house she didn't know. She goes to the top of the stairs, she grabs a gun, and she said, "Get out of my house," because they say you should talk, because talking helps you breathe. She told the man, "Get out of my house." He froze. He didn't try to fight her, he didn't try to run, he just froze. She said it again, "Get out of my house." Or she said something like that. Then she heard another sound coming from the kitchen. And so she pop, plop, 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 shot him, right? He fell. Only for her to realize it was her friend, who was another real estate agent, that had access to her key to show her house to someone. And he was not an intruder. Instead, he was somebody who was viewing the house, and her friend just did not communicate when she was going to come to her house and do it. So this lady laid this dude out in his house because he decided to freeze instead of saying, "Hey, no." He should have just saved himself, but he froze. And it took her like 10 months. And even though she was justified in her actions because she didn't know, she still she was exonerated, like they said, like 10 months after that happened. That's how long it took for the legal process to go through. So it's like, there's so much to know when it comes to really preparing ourselves and really having what we need in these times. You don't know what to be prepared for. You can have a gun all you want to, but just know there's also going to be those legal aspects involved. Do you have a lawyer on hand? You know what I'm saying? So even if you were in the right, to not have to pay out of your pocket over $60,000 and $100,000s of dollars for these fees, to know you can have something that has your back right now. In terms of this place, I'm thinking about it. I didn't sign up for it, but it was like this thing you could do a membership, and so just paying like say $10 a month, I will have all that. It's like an insurance. I will be covered in that. But I mean, just to open your eyes. So I was like, if wherever you are, wherever you're at, find a class about gun safety. Find a class about gun laws. Find a concealed carry class. Find something that's going to give you knowledge on these firearms, because although it's important not to look for yourself in this world, you still have to understand that you got to protect yourself while you're in this world. Because there are those who will try to step out of their reality into your reality and try to take your reality, if you know what I mean. So you gotta always stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And you have to be mentally here to be able to handle it. Be psychologically well by focusing within your own spirit, within your own self, being within your own world. You have the awareness, the knowledge, the maturity, the understanding to be able to protect yourself. If you're too busy outside of yourself, you're not going to be fully coherent when shit really goes down. That's why it's important to stay balanced, stay in alignment within, because then you're going to hear that intuition within and you're going to be protected. Facts. That's why it's so daggone important. But I'm so glad I took this class, because it did something to my spirit. Like, I felt it in my spirit, that power. And I was like, I'm going back and I'm going to make sure I get as much knowledge as I possibly can, because I'm going to continue on with this journey, and I'm going to practice, and I'm going to get better, and I'm going to know what I'm doing, because I can do combat with my hand. I can box. I can punch. I know how to protect myself like this, but now I need to protect myself just a little bit further because I have children. And I'm a woman. You know, people might get it twisted. Don't get me twisted. I'm a badass. Or so I thought until I picked up that gun today. Then I realized I ain't much as a badass as I thought I was. You change your whole dynamic when you pick up that gun. it really brings out something within you. And it's up to you to understand what that is within you that's bringing out, and regulate and control it. Whether do I need more courage, or do I need to calm it down just a little bit till I don't feel like I'll need to go out there and start to shoot at people. And I need to have the courage that I know I can pull the trigger if I need to. So you got to find that balance. So I say, get out there, go do something different with your life. If you haven't, it's definitely something to take into consideration, especially nowadays. And don't look for yourself out in this world. Look for the world within you. Stay strong, stay vigilant. You got this. Go to Gyal, and I'm out. Mwah.